how much detail should we be putting into our case studies?
Rule of thumb, try to not go more than 5 minutes. When you think about like medium case, right? There's always this, how much time it takes to read this case study. Try to not go for more than 5 minutes. And even that is a lot. Think about the scanning experience. If when you scan the titles, you can even scan it under 30 seconds. That should already tell the story. How much content? Obviously, it depends on the story type. You can be super efficient. You can go with like key puzzles and just go for efficiency. For example,
hands down, the best way to learn UX is to copy world-class apps out there. Pixel by pixel, flow by flow. Why? Well, the best designers are working on these solutions, but you might not be able to get in the room with them. The next best thing is to study their designs, spacing, shadows, interactions, and ask yourself, why did they make these decisions? All can be answered by recreating the interface. This will teach you more than any other bootcamp. Discover how the world's top designers create world-class user experience on Mobbin, linked below. Thanks for sponsoring, and now back to the video.
You can say, this was the problem, and I always encourage people in their titles to lead with their content and not with the step you followed. So instead of saying, I did research, say, what's the research insight? Like, we've learned people do not sit together. I always love this example because it tells immediately like what you've learned. And if you connect the dots with the context, we do not sit together for airplane booking system. Oh, okay. People couldn't find and book seats together, for example. That already gives an insight about what you worked on. And so again, when you are designing the case study, how much details you want to provide there depends a little bit on your, I guess, even strategy. Who do you apply to? How much time they have? The more popular industries like hospitality, fintech, they usually receive more case studies, and you have to understand people don't have time to read your case studies. You have to be more to the point. A bit less popular industries, I don't know, for example, climate, social, even like, I don't know, like like I can't right now think about it, but tech industry sometimes, like a bit more like accounting, security, etc. These industries have received less applications and they have a bit more time to read. So you can kind of say adjust the length of it according to how busy is that industry maybe. But the structure, again, you can keep it super pragmatic. You can even keep it 2 minutes. For example, this was the problem. This is the title, what I've learned from this problem. Explorations, the problem I experienced or conflict. And here are the couple of solutions, my critical thinking, the impact. That's kind of it, right? It could be as simple as 2 minutes. But if you want to make it engage in more wow effect, really stand out, you can then start playing out with the story, with how you structure that story. Sometimes you can make, like I already said earlier, a couple of mini stories, like we solved this problem before, during, after. We solved that problem before, during, after. So how you structure it, then it obviously, if it's a few mini stories, then it become maybe 5-7 minutes kind of read. But I will also have seen a good tactic from one of the designer who actually offered 2 passes. So you land on the case study, 1 pass, and it will visually show and like skip through the details, go for 2 minutes case study, or like a little lengthy, and you can see like a little doodle that it's a bit lengthy, 6 minutes read. And you pick which lane do you have, right now, how much time do you have to read. So you can design different ways to present your case study. Most importantly, just keep the structure, keep key points there. Just enough to tell you're a critical thinker, good UI, you understand how to solve problems.
I saw someone do that too, the whole breaking it down. So they actually did like a 60-second video and then like a 2-minute read and then like a 10-minute read. So like different versions based on, people who's going to look, right? So whether it's a recruiter, the hiring manager, or a senior designer that, is on the hiring committee. So that's quite interesting. Yeah, for me, I'm gonna cheat, and everybody's gonna hate me by answering this. Like my answer, which is just gonna be enough to get you that phone call, that initial interview. So detail wise, sure, like just kind of put your shoes in the hiring manager, where busy person looking through 100 applications. I think, yeah, probably not long. That's what I would say. It's really hard, right? It's really hard. But there might not be a magic length, but I like that sort of 5-minute read time. If you could do less in the age of social media and instant gratification, the quicker you get to the point and the quicker that person understands your skill, the better conversion rate you would have to someone reaching out to you.
I agree with you. The more you have, the more red flags you give them to close your portfolio. So actually going more to the points, even prioritizing efficiency and pragmatism in how you communicate your skills, it could give them less chances to like close your portfolio and move on to the next one. Because sometimes you expand and they start realizing maybe you're not so good with accessibility, maybe you're not as good, and maybe the point you were making, the questions you were asking during research were not thoughtful enough. That gives them more chances to actually move on to the next one. And in the early stage, when you go through 500 portfolios, you're actually looking for the red flag so you can move on and faster go through this backlog. So yeah, shorter gives you also less risks, I would say.
Nice. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's like humans, we kind of like move towards the red flag versus noticing the green ones immediately. Yeah, no, that's a really good point. Yeah, that's a really good point. Love that. In the absence of comprehensive research documentation, how do I approach a case study? Maybe we could make it a little bit harder or a little bit towards the spectrum. I've done limited research, right? So it's not even comprehensive research doc. It's just like there's limited research. What do I do in that situation?
I guess what I'm hearing here from this question is that I'm worried I'm not going to look professional. I didn't do my research. So it's not really about how you solve the problems when you don't research, but really how do I not look like I'm not enough professional? I mean, because addressing the first question, it would be obviously you have critical thinking, you have like theoretical data, like all the best practices that you can always back to it and use your best guesses or use common knowledge of the company, blah, blah, blah. So that's one way to go about it, specifically working through the project. But if you don't want to communicate that, hey, I actually didn't have the research, I always personally, and maybe not everybody would agree with me, but I personally I encourage people to go for the truth. Tell the story. What was the story about? Okay, it was not about research. Maybe that takeaway skill, but the takeaway result was not based on research. It's understandable. Some companies, especially early stage startups, businesses dynamics are different, especially these days, because things are not smooth these days. We're not having the same fed budgets for everything. And so things are becoming more pragmatic. How do you overcome this? That's a great challenge. And telling that honest story will show a bit more vulnerability and like honesty in you. So again, it's not going to be cookie cutter perfect case study that everybody's trying to present, but also it will show how you solve problems and how do you operate in a little bit more challenging environments we all actually operate in today. So what skills you use, critical thinking, how did you derive information? Did you do maybe workshops? Did you do just like a desk research? What key insight led you to, I don't know, insights, etc.? What are the things that helped you to progress in that journey to arrive? Again, the story, if it ended up with the good result, remember, beginning, middle, and end, if the end was the opposite of the beginning, so in the beginning you had a problem, in the end you had the solution that works, and you have a proof that it works, then the fact that you didn't have the research is not a big deal. The most important thing is how did you arrive to this working solution? What were the key insights, the key puzzles, the key, I guess, creative solutions that you arrived to that helped you to arrive to successful end, a revelation at the end of the story. So that's a more interesting, I would say. And let's be honest, and that is a real story. Not everybody has a budget for research today.
Yeah, exactly. I really like that. Be honest and, tell a story of the strengths or what went well in the project to highlight those skills again. That's really good. If the document is quite lengthy, is it okay to create a separate one for mobile stroke responsive design within the same project? Or should all the relevant information be kept together? What would a hiring manager typically expect?
Wonder if the document is a reference to the case study. Because I
think
guess,
so.
okay, yeah. Because I was like, okay, we don't want to have the documents or reports, right? We want to make stories, framing, But I think if the point is, if my case study, so if we rephrase this, if my case study is quite lengthy, is it okay to create separate ones for mobile responsive design within the same project, or should the relevant information be kept together? I guess I still see like a few puzzles here, a few points or questions. So relevant information, again, I think we partly covered today this part, but structure. Make sure you follow the structure. How much information in detail you inject there, that's the question, right? You can always shrink this information, and you can cut the information that might add more noise, or keep it to the point, to the essence, right? So the information, that's where you can go a little bit, like you have to adjust sometimes. If it's lengthy, Remove the insights that don't help the story to evolve. Think about the end. End is this final result. This is a solution that works smoothly, elegantly, blah, 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 solves the problem. Okay, what are the insights that did not contribute directly to that solutions that you can remove? Just remove the noise. You probably learned a lot of things, and that helps a lot, especially you in a daily life basis as a designer. But for that particular story, pragmatically, what are the insights that really helped you to arrive at that solution? Just keep it all very important, like all the key pieces there, like again, to the point. Start not from how you went through the process, but start from, again, keeping the story arc in mind. This is the end solution. I know it works. Here's the proof. Reverse it to the beginning. In the beginning, we had this problem. Okay. And then in the middle, you start removing the pieces that might not fully contribute to that end, right? So be pragmatic. I guess that would be the tip. But responsive design, I guess it's a bit of a different question. As for typical web design, right? With responsive design, adjust the layer or sometimes hide the sections. It's just a part of the, not to say sacrifices, but adjustments we do for the mobile web design, but it's probably a bigger question, right? So how do we approach website that has less real estate?
Want to listen to the full conversation? Click the video on screen now. Subscribe to the channel if you want to join us live. Oh, wait. Okay, fine, you don't have to join us for the live stream, but if you like stuff like this, then click that subscribe button. I'll see you on the inside. Bye!